I became aware of SLUH High from my older brother. And believe it or not, I was in the Boy Scouts, so I was used to wearing uniforms. So I go to my first SLUH High CBC game at Washington University. So I saw the CBC cadets with uniforms on and their regalia and everything else. So I'm used to being in the Boy Scouts, and I said, oh, that's the school I'm going to. I like that. They look really sharp over there. Older brother said, no way, you're going to SLUH High. And that was it. That was my introduction. I grew up in what's commonly known in St. Louis as the Ville. And back in those days, you know, the teachers, everyone lived in the neighborhood. So we had the doctors, the lawyers, the teachers, principals. So there was a lot of dialogue. This person knew this person's son, and they got into SLUH High. If your sons or have any talent, they need to go to SLUH High. It's a great school. We came in right during that civil rights time. The school was really rigid. Hair couldn't come below the collar of the shirts. Jackets, everything like that. They started relaxing because the country was going through such a turmoil. They started relaxing the attire that you could come in. So they let us wear long hair. And of course, with us coming in 60, 68, 69, we had afro, we had braids, we had everything else. Converse had come out with different colored tennis shoes. So of course, you know, the kids in our class, a green tennis shoe, a red tennis shoe, a blue tennis shoe, a yellow. So we're gonna take it to the extremes. We did things to, I guess, open the eyes of the priests, the Jesuits that were on campus, that said, hey, it's a new generation of people coming in. The great thing about our class, and I tell people, I think we broke the mold with our class. We communicated with each other, and I really mean communicated, because our belief was we get to know each other by communicating. So we would have the white kids go to North City, the Ville, to go to parties over there. We would go to West County and have parties out there. I had many of the students, my classmates, go to my mom's house for dinner. We ate, you know, in the Ville. One of the streets over in the Ville was called Wabada. And they used to kid us about, oh yeah, let's go to the party on Wabadaba. So, but we joked about everything, we communicated. They started to understand Black culture and what it meant and how significant it was to us. This is a college prep institution, college prep. So it prepared us for college. It prepared every student for college. You know, each faculty member, they cared about you, but they didn't care about you. And I say that with love, because they cared about the success of every student and making sure that that student understood their class material. But they didn't care that you had football game or you had a philosophy test, a theology test. I teach history, this is my baby. Okay, so that's why I said they cared about you, but they didn't care about you because they focused on their study. Whatever they were teaching, that's what they focused on. That was their concentration. I want you to understand history. I want you to understand English. I want you to understand math. Now, my biggest influence here was Coach Dunn. I had the privilege of having Mr. Dunn for trigonometry. He influenced me to major in math when I got to college. Coming out of his class, having him as a football coach, having him as one of my first mentors outside of my family was very influential in me moving ahead. So I majored in math when I got to college, but I do owe a lot to Coach Dunn and his impact that he had on me in the math class. Black History Month to me is about celebrating and the accomplishments that Black minorities have made to this country. You have to remember the history of it. Black history was one day pretty much, and it did that until 1940, where it was accepted from several states of being Black History Week. And then in '76 is when President Ford said, hey, I'm going to embrace Black History Month. White American did not understand Black culture. So what happened, without communicating, they feared us. And they continue to do that in some pockets. The Ville, we were loaded with doctors. The teacher from the school, we had the principal to live a couple of doors up. So we had all of these role models there, including your parents, to put you on the right path. My dad grew up in Texarkana, Arkansas, right on the border of Texas and Arkansas. He told me about all those days. He told me what he did in the Korean War, the impact, the contributions that a lot of the Blacks made to the armed services. So all of that was not part of the history books. If it was just a glance over. So they talked about the Tuskegee Airmen. You've seen movies about Tuskegee Airmen, but before then you had the Buffalo Soldiers, the 91st Cavalry. They were called Buffalo Soldiers because the Apache Indians saw them and they said, hey, their hair looks like buffalo wool, so we're gonna call them Buffalo Soldiers. So that's what they call us. After that, you had the first Black Panther. You say, well, who are those? I think it was the 761st Tank Battalion in World War II. They were called the Black Panthers because they had a panther as a insignia on their uniforms. So all of those things eliminated from our history books, eliminated. So again, I go back, his story should be inclusive of our story. So when I look at the first African American to come to the school, again, I stand on that young man's shoulders because I can understand the trials, the tribulations that they had endured coming in the early days. Because did I ever feel like, I was a pioneer? No. I went through probably a tenth of what those students went through in the early days and stuff. Now, Henry Hampton was another one. I mean, he came to St. Louis U High in the early 50s. And he went on to write and direct, produce Eyes of the Prize. And I recommend every student should look at Eyes of the Prize. So, yes, I embrace African American history. It gives me the opportunity to go back and do more research. I continue to do research because I want to learn about our history. If we don't tell our story, who's going to tell our story? And my mission on the board is to make sure that all students feel loved. All students have the opportunity that I had to move forward and make significant contributions to the community and to the world. Don't fear the unknown. Get in there and try to understand it.